Hello and welcome back. If you had joined us for the previous two sections of the pre-recorded members meeting for 2021, I'm Janet Johnson, your current NMFWA president, and I'm here to present this final section, which will begin with our working group reports. NMFWA working groups offer a tremendous way to network and communicate with other professional resource managers within and across service branches. Our working groups allow you to join specific distribution lists. And one of the great things about NMFWA is that a resource manager has the ability to reach out to the working group chairs and gather professional information within a short time frame. If it's a problem at one base, there's a very good chance that it is a problem at another base, and the collective knowledge and experience of NMFWA can offer real solutions. Before we begin with our reports and introducing the working groups, I would like to give thanks to our brand new working group liaison to the Board of Directors, who was appointed in March 2020, and that's Jim Swift. Jim took on the role to be a liaison between the working group chairs and the board, and has attended most of our board meetings, as well as gathering and working with the working group chairs to make this meeting a success. Thank you, Jim, for all of your service. Here is the list of the 2020-2021 working groups with the co-chairs for each of them. These are the 11 different working groups, each which has 2 co-chairs. One co-chair position serves for 2 years, while the other is 1 year, so you have continuity between the chairs. You'll notice this year we've added an 11th group, the Technological Research Applications Working Group. I will present that slide later in the reports, but they are looking for co-chairs and are just starting, and so we are very excited to have them. And now for the working group reports.
Hello, NMFWA members. My name is Amy Reed, and I'm an Environmental Protection Specialist with the Federal Aviation Administration. On behalf of my co-chair, Grant Harder, who is a Natural Resource Specialist with the U.S. Navy, and the BASH Working Group members, I would like to give a brief update from the BASH Working Group and let you know what topics will be discussed during our working group meeting on Tuesday at 10 a.m. This past year, the BASH Working Group has focused on continuing to keep civilian and military airfields across the country safe while balancing the unique circumstances of working remotely during a pandemic. Despite the difficulties of COVID-19, BASH members have continued on-site mitigation strategies and behind-the-scenes research efforts. Grant and I issued our annual BASH newsletter in January. New nominees for the co-chair's position were included in the newsletter. During the last year, both Grant and I have accepted new positions and have to step down as chairs of the working group at this time. Fortunately, we received entries from 5 very qualified candidates, and we will announce the new chairs at the working group meeting. During the BASH working group meeting, we will also hear updates from the respective DoD branches, including Air Force, Navy, and Marines. These updates are likely to include ongoing research and also the sunset of the Navy's WES in exchange for the new Risk Management Information Streamlined Incident Reporting, or RMI-SIR. We look forward to seeing you at the BASH Working Group meeting, immediately followed by the BASH Technical Session, in which we have 2 special guests lined up to speak on behalf of BASH-related issues on Tuesday morning. Thank you.
Hi, this is Steve Najar from the Wildland Fire Working Group. The other co-chair is Mark Stevenson. The working group currently has 119 members. We held a business meeting and technical session last year in Omaha at NMFWA. Over the course of the year, we maintained correspondence with the group members through our email list and sent out any current DoD related wildland fire news that we were aware of. Most of the effort over the last year was focused on developing a training session for NMFWA 2021. we cooperated with personnel from the Army and from the Air Force Wildland Fire Branch to come up with topics and agenda for the session. The day-long training is entitled Wildland Fire Management on DoD Lands, and that will be held on Friday. Our hope is this training will be repeatable and can be used to train other natural resources staff and leaders throughout DoD. We also corresponded with several DoD natural resources managers about potential technical session topics. Thanks to everyone that pushed with those great ideas and submitted them to NMFWA. We have a great lineup on Thursday because of their efforts.
Welcome to the National Military Fish and Wildlife Association Bats Conservation Working Group 2021 meeting update. The Department of Defense continues to be a leader in bat conservation through its sustainable land management, contributions to science through monitoring and research, and contributing information to regulatory systems to inform relevant conservation guidance. As with many monitoring programs, the global pandemic has disrupted bat monitoring in 2020 due to trapping and travel restrictions, where many states revoked all trapping permits for handling animals due to uncertainties with the pandemic. Given these setbacks, monitoring can still take place with acoustics and other methods. During our working group meeting, we will discuss certain components of this and how they can be used to continue monitoring without disruptions to annual surveys. We will discuss planning level survey guidance for in-ramp updates, clearing level survey guidance for compliance reasons, winter survey techniques, and ways to consider contributions to widespread monitoring programs, namely the North American Bat Monitoring Program. Our working group technical session is Monday, March 8th from 1300 to 1430 Central Standard Time, and we hope that many of you can join us for these lively discussions. Thank you.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Christy Wolf, and I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the National Military Fish and Wildlife Association's Climate Change Working Group. At present, we have about 240 members, and the current working group officers include myself and Charlie Lawton as co-chairs, Linda Brown as the immediate past co-chair, and Vanessa Schoblock as our current recording secretary. What we're about. In many respects, the Department of Defense has long recognized that climate change is an urgent and growing threat to our national security. But, of course, recognizing that climate change is a threat and knowing what or how to do something about it can be wholly different matters. The science of climate change is complex and has the potential to affect virtually all aspects of natural resources management and, by extension, therefore, our ability to support the military mission. Yet, of course, few of us are subject matter specialists or experts in this ever-growing field, and we often hear buzzwords like climate adaptation or climate resilience and still may not be sure how it applies to our work or how to implement best management practices within this context. The working group was therefore established to help raise awareness and share information about the science of climate change, to facilitate communication and collaboration among DoD natural resource managers and other governmental and non-governmental natural resource professionals, as well as just to help keep members informed of potential guidance and policies as they may relate to a changing climate within the context of the military mission. So if you're not already a member and are interested in becoming one or just learning more, please check out our webpage on the NMFWA website. For a snapshot of working group accomplishments over the past year, we hosted, for those of you who were able to attend the 2020 NMFWA annual meeting in Omaha It happened to coincide with the ramp up of travel restrictions due to COVID last year. For those of you who made it, we hosted a training workshop on implementing the DoD Climate Adaptation Guide, which is available for download on our website, as well as we had an excellent technical session, presentation session. A second training opportunity conducted by NIAX, the Northern Institute of Applied Climate Science, had to be canceled as the last day of NMFWA was canceled last year. But you'll see on our next slide that we are bringing it back, and the training is available on Monday this year. We currently have 3 committees within the working group: the NEPA newsletter and website committees, chaired by Braden Ramage, Charlie Lawton, and Vanessa Showblock, respectively. For the website, we also had generous support from Brian Hall, the NMFWA website administrator, and he's been very helpful as we've endeavored to maintain updates throughout the year. We published the 3rd issue of Climate Core, the official newsletter of the Climate Change Working Group, with a COVID-inspired theme of invasive species, infectious diseases, and vectors in the context of global climate change. And of course, throughout the year, we've tried to provide regular email blasts without spamming people's inboxes too much with training opportunities, news and research articles, and policy notifications. And we're currently in the middle of doing our annual elections right before NMFWA this year. The last slide here simply lists the climate change working group sessions that we're hosting at this annual National Military Fish and Wildlife Association meeting. The first session is the training workshop on Monday the 8th, and that's the Climate Change Adaptation Planning for Natural Resource Managers, which is provided by NIAX, the Northern Institute of Applied Climate Science. That one we've brought back because by popular demand. I believe that course is already at capacity, but definitely if you're interested, keep checking back because you never know when those rosters change. And then on Tuesday, the 9th of March, we have our working group business meeting. That is a half an hour, immediately followed by the working group live panel discussions or office hours, which are the opportunity to talk about the presentations that are pre-recorded for our technical session that you can watch in advance, and then the presenters will be available for discussion during this time slot. And just I'd like to note that these times are all central, so keep that in mind when you're marking your calendars if you are not on Central Time. And that wraps up this brief. Thank you so much for your interest, and although I am sorry we won't be meeting many of you in person this year, we welcome your involvement and look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thanks.
Hello, NMFWA. This is the Herpetology Working Group. Your co-chairs this year were David McNaughton and Dan Levitt. That's who's speaking right now. Dave is going to be outgoing this year, and so we have a call for nominations for a co-chair seat that he will be vacating. This past year, we were available to assist with installation issues and provide peer-to-peer support for reptile and amphibian conservation and management. Additionally, the co-chairs assisted DoD Park as representatives in their board. The Herpetology Working Group maintains a monthly newsletter, thanks to Todd Wills, and that serves as a way to coordinate information across the many services in the NMFWA group. Our annual meeting was held on Monday with a live panel and a live meeting. However, content that is still up on the website include presentations on a BioBlitz that took place in Georgia, Sonoran Desert Tortoise monitoring in Arizona, rare and sensitive snake, camera trapping on DoD installations, distribution and spatial ecology of blandings and wood turtles at Camp Grayling, and documentation and characterization of rattlesnake dens in Nevada. We encourage you to check out this content, which will be available to you for viewing. And on a last note, we did have to cancel our FY20 BioBlitz due to the global pandemic, but we hope that everyone has a very safe and healthy FY21, and we're looking forward to having a BioBlitz in the near future. Thank you.
Hello, Invasive Species Working Group. We are co-chairs April Andahar and Mark Hall. Past business at the March 2020 meeting in Omaha, April Andahar was installed as the new co-chair. We currently have 186 members, and we are always looking for additional members. An email discussion was sent out on June 14th and again on February 1st, and we are looking forward to continuing these discussions. The February 1st email asked for nominations for a new co-chair as Mark's term is ending this year. We will be announcing the results of that election live at the meeting. New business for 21 and 22. A topic of discussion has been the stray animal control plan and whether feral cats should be treated as invasive species. Also, we want to remind everyone that if you need any resources or have suggestions for training and or technical sessions, we always welcome those. We are looking forward to having more engagement in the coming year. Please be sure to watch the technical session presentation by Dr. Brian Allen on the effects of plant invasions on tick and mosquito-borne disease risk. We look forward to seeing you at the working group meeting on Tuesday, March the 9th from 12:15 to 12:45, and hopefully again at the technical session Q&A Tuesday the 9th at 12:45 to 1300. Those are both Central Standard Time.
Hello, this is Janet Johnson, your NMFWA president, and today I'd like to present to you the Conservation Law Enforcement Working Group update. Unfortunately, both co-chairs, Mark Sledge and Lisa Grimes, were unable to do the voice recording, but provided this slide. So for 2020, the working group met in Omaha, Nebraska at our workshop and provided updates from the Air Force, Marines, Army, and Army, with Navy appointing a new contact. The discussions covered Army training programs, U.S. Air Force cooperative agreements with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Navy conservation law enforcement needs, and Marine Corps updates. During that meeting, they also elected their co-chairs for both the 2-year and the 1-year terms. Unfortunately, both chairs are unable to attend and hold our annual 2021 working group meeting during the workshop. However, they will hold the annual meeting and elections through member emails. A PowerPoint presentation will provide the updates that they usually do during the working group meeting, business meeting, with the updates from all 4 of the DoD service branches. And they will also hold an election for a new co-chair into the 1-year term. If you're interested in joining the Conservation Law Enforcement Working Group, please visit their webpage at NMFWA.org in our working group section. Thank you.
The Outdoor Recreation Working Group is chaired by Richard Riddle and Mark Stevenson. We currently have 111 members. During the last year, we sent out several emails to our members. These were requests from other members in our working group that were seeking assistance or information for specific issues that were related to their installations. The meeting in Omaha last year, we held a technical session. This year, we'll have a business meeting. The Outdoor Recreation Working Group will meet on Monday, March the 8th at 14:30 Central Standard Time, and we will elect a new co-chair. Thank you very much.
Greetings, NMFWA and Pollinator Protection Working Group members. I am Doug Burkett, the outgoing chair of the Pollinator Working Group. Myself and Charlie Plimpton, Bork Hood, the other co-chair, we welcome you. Just a quick update of our working group activities. We still maintain a listserv of about 250 active members that we periodically send out policy, items of interest, research, news story, etc. We certainly encourage you and our members to send this story to distribute to our members. Although this has been kind of a down year for the quantity of materials that has been sent out to our membership, there has been a recent flurry here in January and February. We recently canvassed our working group to provide some examples of some installation level pollinator projects that our members have been working on. We got a pretty good response. So there's some amazing work being done out there on shoestring budgets. I'm going to share a list of that during our working group later on in the week. So also a few other things that our group has been involved with, at least some of our members, is we got a chance to once again represent DoD interests during the annual North American Pollinator Protection Campaign, to which DoD is a sustaining member. And I also wanted to mention a few updates of some of the websites that contain DoD policy and resource related items. DNIX, I talked to Derek Goya and working with Ryan there at DoD Natural Resources, and that website has been recently updated. The website's there at the slide, but you may have to Google it to find it. The Armed Forces Pest Management Board, where I'm from, we also maintain a small pollinator resources page on our website. Easy to find and easy to Google there. And also, although this is a couple of years old now, some of our new members and some of our current members may have forgotten this even exists, but a few years back, the Air Force had funded and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service had developed, along with some other collaborators, a pretty amazing DoD pollinator conservation reference guide, right? Initially, this is for the Air Force specific. That document has been made a little bit more broad and turned into a DoD specific document and kind of retitled as the Pest Management Board Technical Guide number 9. We encourage you to download a copy of this. It's really quite good, and we thank the developers of this, even though it's a couple years old. And lastly, our pollinator working group virtual meeting is scheduled for this Tuesday on March 9th from 13:15 to 13:45 Central Standard Time. And we hope to see you there. It's going to be informal. We're just going to kind of discuss whatever it is of interest to you and maybe go over a couple of the pollinator projects that our members have submitted. I thank you, and we'll talk to you later on this week.
Hello everyone, my name is Bob Shellman, and along with Jackie Ferrer Perez, we are the co-chairs of the Bird Conservation Working Group. Our working group was chartered back in 2015 and now has well over 200 members. We collaborate very closely with the Department of Defense Partners in Flight program. I'm excited to tell you briefly about a couple of our multiple ongoing initiatives. One of our most recent was kicked off in 2019, which was an installation avian management survey. Basically, it's looking for trying to consolidate who has similar avian issues across the services and then compile a big picture of DoD successes, challenges, and then that will hopefully facilitate some collaboration so we can share innovations and lessons learned across the DoD, so we're not reinventing the wheel. Another exciting initiative that continues to be ongoing is opportunities and challenges with recreational birders on installations. Several of us have issues with recreational birders being in areas they shouldn't be, whether they're off limits or sensitive. But there's also opportunities there where we can capture some of the data that they're seeing and use that to fold into our natural resources programs. Always continuing to look for outreach activities at installations, things outside the fence line to let people know the good news of what's going on, but then also looking for in-reach opportunities for folks that are inside the fence line, whether that's service members and their families and installation personnel. And these can be done either through National Public Lands Day or Migratory Bird Day, but it can also be with smaller events at the individual installation. So we're able to help out and help provide some guidance for those sorts of activities. We also work with the Avian Knowledge Network and the DoD coordinated bird monitoring data, make sure that the data that's collected with all our good research that's being done and monitoring that's being done, that's being memorialized. And then the grassroots portion of our working group is the peer-to-peer assistance, whether it's a new installation biologist or a new emerging issue. We can provide some assistance, whether that's via phone or email, and maybe connect you with installation managers that have similar challenges. And we're always looking for opportunities to share the good news of what we're doing on installations as regards to bird conservation, whether that's an article to the fawn or through other avenues, but always looking to share those stories. Look forward to continuing any discussions, answering any questions that you might have about our working group. We have a working group meeting scheduled for Wednesday, March 10th from 10 to 10:30 Central Standard Time. And that's going to be followed directly afterwards by a technical session / panel where we have some great presentations have been put together by a number of folks. And we'll be discussing those again on March 10th from 10:30 to 11:45 Central Standard Time. Thank you very much for your time and look forward to talking to you soon.
Hello, my name is Janet Johnson, your NMFWA president, and I would like to present our newest working group, the Technological Research Applications Working Group. This working group is a new and emerging group that was created by one of our newer NMFWA members, Samantha Tobridge, from the Louisiana Army National Guard. Sam came to the board during our meeting in Omaha last year with a proposal to start the working group. She quickly gathered the necessary signatures and presented it to the board in April of last year. By July, Sam had drafted a charter that was submitted, and a new working group webpage was developed to bring new members and pique interest in membership. The charter is currently awaiting final revisions necessary for board approval, and they are looking for a few co-chairs to get it up and running. If you're interested, please contact our new working group by visiting the NMFWA website at nmfwa.org. We're very excited to have the new group and looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. Thank you, Sam, for all the effort you've put in, and we're really looking forward to seeing new membership join the group. So now that you've heard from our various committees, as well as our working groups, you get a better idea on how you can get involved. Of course, one of those are one of the 11 of our working groups, or multiple. It's a good way to stay abreast on the latest news and updates. The other is to serve on one of those special committees, or run for board of directors. This is a volunteer-run organization, as I've said many times, and we're only as strong as our members. We need your ideas, enthusiasm, and skills to make this an organization that you are proud of. So please get involved. Another way is to attend our board meetings. We have 2 that are coming up during our live workshop event. They are open to all members. The first is on Monday, March 8th, and the second will be on Thursday, the 11th. Please join us and feel free to chime in and bring your ideas and questions. Another way to get involved is to host a technical session or present a paper. Our next in-person annual workshop will be in Spokane, Washington next year in March of 2022. So please visit nmfwa.org. If you're not currently a member, please join. It's free. We're really looking forward to having you. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us for this pre-recorded Part 1 portion of the 2021 NMFWA members meeting. And I encourage you to visit us during the live portion, which will be happening on Tuesday, March 9th at 3:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, I want to remind you all that if you have questions that have come up during this Part 1 of the pre-recorded, or you have other questions you'd like to ask us, the live portion of the meeting is for that very reason. We'll have a chat box that'll be available if you want to type in your questions during that session. And we also have the raised hand feature in the Pathables or the Zoom meeting application that's in there. And so the moderator will be able to also call on you and you can voice that. Either way, that live meeting, the main point of that is to get your feedback, to get your questions answered, to share information. It is your members meeting and we want to make sure that you feel comfortable and ready to participate. So please send us your questions in the chat box, as I mentioned, for the live meeting, and join us at 3:15. Thank you so much for listening to the reports from our committees and our working groups, and we hope you can get involved.